An update now on a story we first brought you last month. Good evening, everyone. I'm Latoya Edwards.
And I'm Mike Nikitas, a Massachusetts state trooper off the job after a drunk driving charge. But now there's been a major development in his case, and our Allie Donnelly has been tracking the details. Allie, what's going on?
Mike, that's right. Over the last 6 years, Sean Gately has racked up quite a record off duty, a reckless driving conviction, speeding, several accidents, and most recently a DUI charge where police say he blew a .25, more than 3 times the legal limit. Today, his record is catching up with him. He's been fired.
Well, we're gonna follow me all day. I don't want to shake your hand.
Okay.
Sean Gately is understandably irritated. We've been digging through his record for weeks looking for answers.
Are you a good cop?
Are you a good reporter?
Gately is a veteran Massachusetts State Police sergeant on probation without pay after Chelmsford police say he was off duty driving drunk when he ran a red light and totaled a local woman's car. But that's not all we found.
Do you think you should be on the road protecting people with your record?
No comment.
NECN recently obtained documents that show Gately flashed his badge, made sure investigators knew he was a ranking member of the Massachusetts State Police as he tried to get out of a different drunk driving charge, this time in New Hampshire.
You know what I think? I think I got no comment. Are we done now?
Gately may be done. We've just learned State Police Colonel Timothy Albin has issued an administrative discharge to the 48-year-old trooper. It severs his ties with the agency, but Gately can appeal the move. We pressed for more details, but a state police spokesperson would only say that per the personnel exemption to the public records law, no further information about this action can be released. In an earlier statement, they had told us that it was the Chelmsford DUI arrest that prompted their internal investigation, but they were looking at his entire record. Perhaps they took a hard look at the February 2008 report from New Hampshire State Police. According to the documents, a New Hampshire trooper was called to the scene of a black Ford Explorer crashed into a snowbank on the on-ramp of 93 South in New Hampton. In the report, the trooper detailed what he found. Gately behind the wheel, a 30-pack of Bud Light in the back, empties on the floor, cup holder, door, and outside the vehicle. According to the report, Gately had glassy, bloodshot eyes, smelled of alcohol, slurred his words, and swayed noticeably. According to the report, Gately claimed he'd had 5 beers.
Any driving at that particular level is extremely dangerous.
Major David Parento heads the New Hampshire State Police and says his trooper did everything by the book. He brought Gately to nearby Tilton PD for processing, even though Gately repeatedly tried to get out of it. According to the report, he asked, quote, if we had to do this, if the trooper could cut him a break. He asked for us not to do this and that it was my interstate and it was my choice. Unmoved, the trooper asked Gately to take a breathalyzer. According to the documents, Gately agreed, but when the trooper actually started the process, Gately said, if it's going to be like this, I'm having chest pains.
I would interpret it that it's time to blow on the machine, and he's deciding that now I don't feel well.
Police warned Gately that if he went to the hospital, they would draw blood and they'd have his blood alcohol content on record. But according to the report, Gately stated that he can't give blood because he is Muslim. Now, we don't know if Gately is in fact Muslim, but according to his marriage licenses, he was married the first time by a priest in a Catholic church, and a minister officiated his second marriage in a United Church of Christ.
Obviously, if he's not Muslim, it's another attempted ploy.
Whether or not it was a ploy, it worked. Doctors didn't draw his blood, and he was discharged from the hospital. Still, it was a sizable delay, all told 4 hours, and Gately was sobering up.
At some point, you're not going to be in the same condition you were when you were stopped.
In the end, documents show he blew a .15 into a breathalyzer, nearly twice the legal limit. But knowing the ins and outs of drunk driving laws, refused to blow a second time. Parento says state law requires that a suspect blow twice into the machine to make sure the readings aren't skewed. Because he only blew once, the result was thrown out and couldn't be used as evidence. Several weeks later, a state prosecutor let him plead to a lesser charge of reckless driving.
Ludicrous.
Massachusetts State Rep Stephen Howitt was stunned to learn that Gately's license was suspended for 6 months for the New Hampshire reckless driving charge, and that his license is currently suspended until September. Gately, a former MDC police officer, has been a trooper since 1986 and last year made $125,000. Howitt says Gately should not only be fired, but lose his pension.
For him to be bringing down the reputation, that fine reputation of Massachusetts state troopers is really a shame.
Now, state police say they're not the ones to decide whether or not Gately keeps his pension. That's up to the state's retirement board. We reached out to Gately's union, who so far has declined to speak on his behalf. Mike?
All right, Allie, and as for that Chelmsford DUI charge, a judge last month allowed the case to be continued without a finding for 1 year. And that means if Gately does not get into any legal trouble in that time, that case will be dismissed.